Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our spider history for July, even though we're recording this in June. So, a little secret, we do these bunch all at once. JR will be here in just a minute. We're going to um, talk about a mystery that has been facing all of us spider fans for years, and we want to know who is Facade. We're going to tackle, again, 4 issues of Web. We've got 113, 114, 115, and 116. This mystery got cut off a little early because there's a little thing called the Clone Saga that interrupted this storyline. So those are the issues we're going to tackle, and the man that will tackle them is right here, which is JR. What's going on, JR?
Oh, well, okay. Had a month to rest from Cult of Love, and now I'm ready to tackle one of the most
Facade?
infamous stories
Yep.
of Spider-Man history.
Yep.
It's kind of funny. It's infamous for a whole lot of, it is. He's an unsolved Spider-Man. It's infamous for a lot of reasons, and not because it's necessarily the worst story of Spider-Man that's ever been told. In fact, I don't even think it makes my list of worst stories. But as you go through it, there's just so many things wrong with it. Plus, it also has the the infamy of kicking off one of the most infamous Spider-Man storylines in history. So
true, right before the Clone Saga. So,
and Brad just gave it away.
The what?
The infamous story that this helped kick off.
Well, the Clone Saga, damn it! It's 30 years old. It's not a mystery. It's not. Spoiler alert: the Clone Saga's coming. What the hell, JR? And the Clone Saga will come again and again and again. But always.
Maybe not all of our young fans know that. So
yeah, they do by now. Facade, the mystery that we all care about, but the writers don't, says Ryan Reed. Yes. Brent says, yes, Facade, let's go. All right. Webb, we got a hot new character guest starring in this new issue. We got Gambit.
He's a hot new character. Why?
In 1988, he was.
He was.
Or 1994. I'm sorry, not 1988. That was last month.
Yeah. I guess that's why he's in this story, right? Because he serves absolutely no function. And actually, this is a 4-part story, and neither he nor the Black Cat, who figure prominently in this story and on this cover, are relevant to the rest of the story. So let us begin.
Real quick, the book says it's $2.95. Did this come with one of those animation cells? Is that
another reason why this is an infamous?
It had an animation cell in it. You got it on you?
Hang on.
Funny. All right, you're full screen. Here you go. You got the animation cell in the
back. Because this was the time that the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. No,
just Spider-Man. Spec was in 2000s.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, but some of the comic books of the time, for example, had an insert.
Yep.
Which was people talking about the new animated series. Yep. And this was the Fox series. This is probably one of the most well-regarded Spider-Man animated series of all time.
It is.
And the cell that came with this one.
Which one? Oh, that's hard to see. I can't see
it is.
Tilt
I don't know if
can you tilt it a little bit? Oh, yeah, put something behind it. There you go. Now you can see it.
There we go.
Yep.
So it's a cell. So it doesn't really show up.
It looks better now. Yeah.
But and there was another one, I think, in another issue. I think that's this whole month there were promos.
Yeah, there's 4 of them. One was Peter pulling a Superman where he's opening his shirt.
I have that one. Yeah.
I don't remember the rest of them, but anyway, one of him on the buildings. That was the 3rd one. I can't think of the 4th one. Yeah. But there were so many of them. Even Spider-Man Classics, the reprint book, had a cell in it.
Oh, really?
Holy cow! Look at this. We've got Alex Savick watching. Hey, Alex, what's up, man?
Oh.
And there was a variant deep yellow background on one of the cells. There you go.
Oh, I feel like I should be standing, but that would just show how fat I am,
No,
I guess.
Salute the legendary Alex Savick joining our broadcast.
It's nice. Like I should put a hat on to cover my baldness, Well,
what am I going to do? What?
Yeah, but that's an endearing part of your character, whereas to me, it just makes me look old. Yeah. So, Mr. Savick, glad to have you aboard.
Savick's a great dude.
So,
All right,
all
so
right.
take me through Gambit and Black Cat
All
right
right.
here.
Yeah, who have absolutely nothing to do with the story.
Okay.
So, anyway, well, they have something to do with the first part of the story, but only as a publicity because they have absolutely no creative
Yeah.
purpose being in the story. So anyway, Web of Spider-Man. Spider-Man is hanging out at the grand opening of the new Macro Science Museum
Okay.
because scientists are here to see the fundraising demo of Morel Pharmaceuticals' new breakthrough in bioorganics. Now, boys and girls, after many decades of reading these comic books, you realize that whenever there's going to be a scientific demonstration somewhere,
Something's going wrong.
nothing good is going to happen here.
Alex says that you should be proud, JR. You have more on top than him. Be proud.
Okay.
And Brent says we need Terry Kavanaugh in here for the full reunion.
Oh.
Yeah, and Venkman is happy that Alex Savik's in the house. So am I. Very nice.
Oh.
Oh, yes, here we go. There was one with the vulture. Yes. That was one of the other animation cells. I forgot about that.
I remember that one.
It was the young vulture, too.
Yes, that's right.
Not the old vulture, yeah.
That's right. Was the vulture young throughout all the animated series? Was he ever old, or was he? I don't remember.
That '90s animated series is one of my weak spots. I was in college and not getting up at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning when I was in college.
It was a well done series that was as faithful as it could be given the limitations. But it was a one reason I guess you finally remember, some of us old timers finally remembered, it was the mishmash of continuity and old and new stories and old and new characters, and it found a way to make it all work. Cops shooting laser guns notwithstanding.
Michael says that the vulture was both. He was both old and young, kind of like the comics of the 90s. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, better get back to Facade because Brad's going to point out that I only have so many more minutes to finish this. So, anyway,
meanwhile, it's the ball.
Yeah. Anyway, so we got this big party going on, and on the third page, we're introduced to Cole Cooper. Here's one of these obvious, meaningful introductions. He's a rookie photographer that J. Jonah Jameson has told Lance Spannon to mentor.
There's
and
Cole
of course,
Cooper.
Lance wants to have absolutely nothing to do with him. And then the Black Cat is here as well. Looking very fetching, of course.
Good job, Alex.
It's she's not in the milk bath like Brad always prefers to see her.
Now.
All right. But so she really doesn't say why she's there. I have no idea why she's there.
Because she's on the cover. That's why she's there.
I don't recall her ever saying she's going to steal something here. But anyway, there's a rumor that somebody is going to try to steal something, but nobody knows who the somebody is or the thing they're going to steal. Correct. So anyway, but also now what we've got, is Betty, the new revitalized post Cult of Love Betty Brant, who's being hit on by the owner, the manager of the museum.
Yeah. But
then she's quote unquote rescued by Thomas Fireheart knockoff Bryce Archer.
Okay.
Here is significant introduction number, or Archer Bryce. Here is significant introduction number 2.
Okay.
And of course, we have to, exposition. Arthur Bryce, renowned European industrialist from very old money.
Could he be Facade? Could the photographer be Facade?
It's
we are examining.
It's kind of like if somebody came in and saw me, J.R. Fettinger, modest Midwesterner from Southern Indiana and a working class background.
You're Facade.
Who went to college in Terre Haute, Indiana. What are you doing here?
Oh, okay. I'm here like the Black Cat. Yeah.
Anyway, so and now we have more conspicuous introductions. J. Jonah Jameson and his scientist, his hot wife Marla, who started out as a relatively nice-looking middle-aged woman, but everybody's got to be hot these days.
No. Her and Kafka joined a gym.
Yeah. And speaking of Ashley Kafka, pre-clone Ashley Kafka.
Yeah.
significant introduction number C. Cole Cooper, Arthur Bryce had his valet. So I guess
There's
Victor counts as a significant introduction.
Ashley
Okay,
Kafka.
significant introduction number 5, John Jameson. All right.
Yep.
All right. With Ashley Kafka, who certainly does not look like the way Sal Buscema drew her when she during the Child Within storyline.
I think Mr. Savick had a note that said, "Draw her hot." Yeah.
We don't want any middle-aged, women in our series. Those people don't exist, So show was so anyway. But anyway, father son John and Jonah have always had kind of a rocky relationship. Jonah wants Job to take a job with him at the Bugle. John says, "I don't want to have anything to do with your second-rate rag paper." So see, here's the thing: everybody's on edge. Ooh, there's all kinds of things and tension and emotions going on. So then all of a sudden we get
they're scared of the Clone Saga. They're scared.
Anyway, Mr. Savick, who our guest here, gets to show off his skills in drawing very attractive women, as we see.
Homina. That's a good-looking black cat.
So again, I don't know what I'm doing in this plot, so I will just stand here and look sexy. So Mr. Wilson makes some moves on her. Victor and Archer Bryce. Oh, we hear about this microfusion generator that powers the entire museum. Could this be the MacGuffin? All righty. So anyway, all the principals here sit down for the presentation of this new bio armor that's supposed to interact with you and your nerves and muscles and stuff. It is the full acclimation and combat and defense Explo skeleton.
Explo, not Expo. Explo.
It's almost like, so what? Your guts are going to, blow out. Once you use this thing. Oh. So anyway, this is the '90s, boys and girls. So this is another reason why, to me, Facade is an infamous story, because it's another one of these big techno, bio suits with guns blazing and stuff, like we saw them before. We saw them like the Jury and Annex, and the Jury, they were just a dime a dozen. These Silver Sable and her Wild Pack. Everybody had to have this big old exoskeleton that fired missiles. It was
real quick, we got Kyle that says Spider-Man's '90s was a beautiful adaptation of comic book continuity. Regards from Argentina's watching.
Argentina.
So what's up, Kyle?
Wow. Okay.
Man. There you go.
Man.
Oh, here we go. Alex Savick says, I just sent Terry Kavanaugh a message asking him about Facade's identity. I think it was Terry himself. There you go.
Well, I was about to say I hadn't had a chance. I didn't have a chance to do this. At the end of Cult of Love, we have a profile of Terry Kavanaugh.
Oh, and hold it up. Hold up.
And he gives, I don't know if he's, I don't know if he's just thinking he's clever or whether he says, oh God, I have to do this stupid thing. But, they ask him, my place of birth is not yet a shrine. My pet peeves are almost housebroken. The reason I got into comics was extremely interesting. So it's like, well, he thinks he's cool.
Yeah. So, there you go.
I know. But anyway, so Facade the armor flies into the room. And of course, all of our suspects, we make them, because we get close-ups. So Jonah says, incredible. And then on the next page, Cole Cooper says, impressive. John Jameson says, interesting. Archer Bryce says, intriguing, Victor. And Victor says, indeed, sir. So again,
so we got 4 guys right here.
I think we got 5. John Jameson, Jonah Jameson, Archer Bryce, Cole Cooper, and Victor. Okay. So and anyway, if the second, my God, here are the suspects, guys. All right.
So Alex goes, Cult of Love was my only opportunity to draw Mr. Miyagi. Well, there you go.
It succeeded because it was him.
It was him. It looked just
him. So Spider-Man finally decides to show up more than halfway into the issue, and he finds Gambit, and it's like, Gambit, wait a minute, what are you doing here?
Trying to
I'm
boost the
just guest
sales of
starring.
web.
I'm just guest starring because apparently I'm a hot character now, and
Yep.
the only way we think we can sell this issue is to and because remember at this time I think Marvel is having some issues. The whole comic book industry is having
Mm-hmm.
issues,
Yep.
and we're we're consumed by variant covers and everything like
Yeah.
that, and ridiculous guest star
Guest
appearances.
stars.
So
And
anyway, so
Gambit's there because Ghost Rider was busy, and so was Venom. So throw in Gambit.
so we have meaningless superhero fight.
Oh, do they
Um,
fight?
yeah,
Oh, they do fight.
meaningless
It
superhero
looks
fight,
cool though.
and the anyway, the guy who is demonstrating Facade is Mr. Haney.
Wait a minute.
So Tom,
Wait a minute. That's from Green Acres, isn't it?
well, yeah, Mr. Haney. Yep. I don't know what his first name was there, but I keep thinking, they say, oh, by the way, and here's Mr. Douglas crawling out of the Facade.
Mr. Douglas and Mr. Haney. That's Green
Yeah.
Acres.
So anyway, this is Mr. Haney with the he's the inventor of the
Okay.
Facade suit. So
All right.
anyway, he demonstrates that there's somebody in it, and they haven't worked out all the kinks and the bugs or whatever, but so Black Cat finally, Black Cat hears the all the commotion going on. So first, of course, before we get to that, Lance Bannon asked his girlfriend Amy Powell to
Yes.
marry him. Now we have met Amy before because we met Amy after right before Mary Jane came back in the Roger Stern era. Amy was trying to make the moves on Peter because she was trying to make Lance jealous. So Amy and Lance have been around for a while. In fact, Lance was a creation of Denny O'Neill's. He was.
I'm wondering if Amy was a Roger Stern creation.
Right, I believe Amy was a Roger Stern creation.
Yeah,
but Lance was. I think Lance worked for the Globe first. I think Denny O'Neill brought him in as a rival photog to Peter, and then Lance actually made the transition to the Bugle and was Peter's rival for some time, and
poor
a Hobgoblin suspect.
Not to foreshadow what's happening, but poor Amy Powell, who we've again like Miss Cushing, we've not seen Amy Powell in years.
Well, her function though, as we find out in the story, she no longer has a function after the events of the story.
Lance is gone. Yeah.
You just gave it away.
Spoiler! I'm so sorry. Lance is okay at the moment. Lance is okay. 30-year-old spoilers. Lance is okay at the moment. I apologize.
All right. So anyway, we have several pages of just
Gambit and Spidey fighting.
Yeah, and I've never, and again, Gambit's motives are very vague as to why he's here. I'm here out of a sense of familial duty to ensure my people are not involved in a spate of violent robberies I've been tracking from New Orleans.
Okay.
So that's why you're here at this. Anyway, I don't get it.
Well,
all right.
It was a team up. It was a team up to sell more books.
Yeah, whatever you say. So Black Cat interrupts, and it's, says, okay, like let's not fight, guys. And eventually they find the real villains of the story, or at least this story, who are a bunch of cloaked
shadow
guys,
people.
The Silencers.
Okay.
A bunch of cloaked guys. Anyway, so we get a panel of Mr. Haney saying he's going to stay with the Facade armor, which becomes very important later on. Gambit, Black Cat, and Spider-Man are all fighting the Silencers, who can appear and disappear. But, because our heroes are so smart, they're able to get them to either to reveal themselves, or they give themselves away by their voice, or Black Cat fries one of them, and they defeat the Silencers.
Okay.
So, let's see here, because boys and girls, I wasn't quite as prepared on this one as I was Cult of Love. I did read it, but I didn't have a chance to take a whole lot of notes. Well, anyway, so while all this fighting, after the Silencers are put away, all of a sudden somebody gets into the Facade armor. We don't know who. Somebody mysterious, somebody unknown gets into the Facade armor, and Lance Bannon takes a picture.
So it's not Lance Bannon.
It's not. Yeah, it is.
No,
it's Lance Bannon.
No. Lance is not getting in the suit. He took a picture.
Lance, okay, yeah.
Take him off the board. Take him off the board.
Lance was a Hobgoblin suspect, not a Facade suspect.
Exactly. Yes.
So Lance is getting a picture of somebody getting into the Facade costume. So they zap Lance.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
Uh-oh.
but he's not dead yet. He's
Okay.
not dead yet. Just like they're not dead yet in Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Uh, and that is the end of part one of Live and Let Die.
Live and
Which,
let die.
bum bum.
Yep.
That was
Okay.
what James Bond movie was that? Live and Let Die.
Well,
Of
live
course
and
it
let
was.
die. But
And
who sang
okay,
it?
who is the villain in the Bond girl? All right,
Oh,
not the same
well, Paul
person.
McCartney and Wings did the song. The Bond girl, I don't know. Oh, Yafat Kato was the villain, wasn't he?
Yep, he
Yep.
was.
And
Also, apparently a
the Bond
finalist
girl
for
was Jane Seymour. There
Jane
you
Seymour.
go.
That's
Ding,
right.
ding, ding, ding,
One of the
ding,
first
ding.
times I think we saw James Seymour, and apparently Yaphet Kotto was a finalist for Captain Picard. Apparently, according to some
Oh,
stories.
yeah, I do
So
remember that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Him
Uh,
and what was his name? Stephen Mocked, uh, and uh,
mhm.
and because Gene Roddenberry wasn't sold on a bald captain of the Enterprise. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but anyway,
All right.
all right. Part two of Facade because I only have
14,
32 minutes.
114 of Webb. Poor
Yep.
Lance Bannon.
Yep. So,
Oh,
well, that pretty well gives it away anyway, doesn't
yeah.
it?
For Lance
So,
Bannon, the price of Facade Secret is death.
yeah.
That'll make you pick it up.
So, anyway, the story begins by John Jameson and Jonah Jameson having another confrontation because this is supposed to cement that something's going on, and both of these men are angry right now, and therefore they could be driven to do things that maybe they wouldn't
Man,
normally do.
look at the
Um,
credits though. Here, hold on. Look at the credits. Kavanaugh's plotting it and scripting it. Larry is scripting some pages. Savick is breaking it down. And you got Hudson and Frederick. That a lot of people on this.
yeah.
A
Well,
lot of
this was,
change.
I think, is Joey Calaveri the guy who was the editor of the
2099.
2099,
Yeah, that guy.
and
Yeah.
then Marvel fired him, and
Yep.
after that he fired,
Peter
the
David and
whole
all
staff quit.
getting the hell out
Yeah,
of here. Yeah. Yeah.
that was well, of course, who knows? Marvel seems to be a synonym for chaos. It seems when you look at,
Especially in 94 it did.
but it was like what possessed him to fire that guy, and then
I know.
watch the whole staff walk because the 2099 series went kaput not too long after that, right?
It did.
The whole line.
It went to World of Tomorrow. They clumped them all in one book and then Manifest Destiny, and then it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Jonah and John.
But it keeps trying to come back.
It does. Jonah and John talking in the
Jonah
office.
and John. But anyway, so then we get another appearance by the mysterious Cole Cooper, who's following Lance Bannon around because after Lance got zapped, but he's better now.
Okay. Cole Cooper's the blonde with the curly hair, right?
Cole Cooper's the second cousin to Cletus Cassidy, because he has that weird old curly hair.
Yeah.
Again, very conspicuous person,
Yeah.
and he's hanging around Lance, and Lance is busy. Lance wants to go develop the film because he saw somebody getting out of the Facade armor.
Look at that panel though, with Facade over Cooper's shoulder. That's kind of foreshadowing a little bit. What do you think?
You can really tell that that's Facade.
Yeah, that's in that Facade.
Oh
like
yeah,
reflection.
but maybe it's just the costume, and Cole is going to get into it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
Alex, is that what you did? Was that intentional?
This is going to be like that phone call you made to Tom DeFalco or whatever. I think, or the email you sent to Peter David. Oh, what did you mean by this story? And it was like that was 20-something years ago, dude. I don't remember.
Yeah, lose my number. Yeah. No, Peter David's much nicer than that. He said, "Lose my number immediately." No, I'm just kidding.
So, well, anyway, so Spider-Man is. Spider-Man decides to bust up an automated. What the hell is Spider-Man busting up here? Like I said, a potential theft. Some guy's driving around in a way too fancy car for the neighborhood. But see, Spider-Man is kind of, we still get some references about the spider. Because Spider-Man's, still very angry because of all the events.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Lance Bannon's developing his picture, but he can't quite make out who it is, but he decides to hone in on the detail and wait, I didn't notice that before. And then all of a sudden, well,
boom,
you see what happens, boys and girls. and Facade zaps him, which gets a yarg, and then yeah, see yarg,
Oh,
and
I see
then
Yarg. You got Yarg. You got Yarg.
yeah, and what's
Yeah.
it? And then we have Facade hits him with a scroom, which, as Dark Mark would say, is an omnibo num.
Onomatopoeia, baby.
Okay. So we get a scroom, and then we go for
Uh-oh.
the famous neck
Oh.
breaking. All right,
Oh, when you hear a crack.
the
Oh, wait a
crack.
minute. What was Gwen Stacy's? Was that a crack or a snap? That was a
I think that
snap.
was a snap.
That was a snap. Bannon gets a
But I
crack.
but I noticed that a lot of times when Norman Osborn breaks necks, it's a crack. You know,
Oh, there you go.
it's
Okay.
a
No,
crack.
wait a minute. Don't throw out the Norman Osborn's Facade. Don't be doing that.
No, not even Terry Cavanaugh would go that far. So
Yep.
anyway, that pretty well, because Facade
R.I.P.
earlier killed, because I've something that I lost in the midst of my excitement about last issue. Facade killed Mr. Haney in order to get the armor. Mr. Haney was hanging out with the armor, and probably
Haney's
so
done.
maybe Facade is Arnold Ziffel. Uh, but But anyway, so to get the armor, Facade killed Mr. Haney, but that was an accident. However, killing Lance Bannon,
Snap,
that
crackle,
was
and pop came later. Yeah.
that was deliberate. So anyway, well,
Hornacek. Alex, what were you thinking when you do this one panel 30 years ago? I think that is what I just asked Alex Sabat if he
Yeah.
was still watching.
yeah, yeah, like at the Saturday Night Live Star Trek convention, where Mr. Shatner, like on that show with like all the plants and stuff, and you got into your safe. What was the combination?
Get a damn life, Brad. That's what he should say.
So anyway, Amy goes looking for Lance, and unfortunately, she finds him.
No, I think that is that no, that's Betty Brant.
Or is that Betty?
That's Betty, man.
Is that Betty?
That's Betty.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, see, yeah, Betty sees Cole Cooper's camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she goes looking for him.
So again, just to throw Cole's name into the mix again, as if we already didn't think he was a suspect. All right.
Yes. JR did mention a pig on Green Acres as the Facade suspect. Mr. Haney, Mr. Douglas, and now. All right, keep going.
All right. So anyway, so now this Officer Chase.
Oh man!
For a while, I thought he was a suspect, but later it's not. But again, another significant introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly how I found him, Officer, and then Chase. Oh, okay, the way you're saying that must mean that you're a significant character. Yeah. All right. Well.
Here,
unfortunately, Amy does come in and find out what has happened to Lance.
Oh, poor Amy.
And therefore, we have another case of a decent supporting character being killed off in a stupid and useless manner. But
yeah,
well, and of course, so the detective, starts interrogating people and asks Jonah, of course, Jonah's getting belligerent. John James is getting belligerent. And then all of a sudden, Cole Cooper shows up to add his 2 cents. Yeah. And Betty decides to start doing some background research.
Yep. She's wanting to be a reporter.
Yep. Since I refuse to believe either of the Jamesons or even Cletus Cassidy's second cousin, Cole Cooper, are capable of premeditative murder. So she's going to investigate Arthur Bryce and his quiet butler, Victor. Now, last issue, he was Archer Bryce, but now he's Arthur Bryce. So
we got 2 guys writing it. So, something got mixed up.
So I think what happened. Well, no, I think this is part of Betty's deprogramming.
From Cult of Love.
Yeah, so she's kind of mixing things up here.
Poor Betty. We need to just get a flashlight in front of her eye again. Yeah.
So now, all right. Here it comes, boys and girls. Here it comes.
Is this the very first panel?
I think it is.
Is this the first time ever mentioned?
I think it is.
Oh my gosh! Here it is.
Boys and girls, Aunt May comes home. Aunt May is coming home,
and
the phone rings.
Yeah.
And it's somebody that's called Aunt May before.
No.
Well, she sees, May gets distracted by looking at the headlines of the murder at the Bugle.
Yeah.
and so she has to leave because she's afraid that Peter might need her for whatever reason. I don't know.
Ooh.
But I mean, there's the mysterious
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. You want to know who that is, boys and girls? Who is it,
No, they
JR?
don't want to know.
They want to know.
They don't want to know.
Yeah, it
but
is.
This mysterious. There's trouble in the Parker family.
We're gonna save him. Like,
because he's going to show
issues
up. He's going to show up a little
of
bit
who
later.
this guy is. We know who it is.
Yeah. So anyway, so Betty is doing her research, and she's trying to cross-reference all the party guests who were there, to try to figure out who Facade was. But Facade, breaks into the Bugle and starts looking for Betty, and runs into Spider-Man.
All right, here we go.
And so, this is
Spidey
our first
versus Facade.
This is our first beatdown between Spidey and Facade, and Spidey runs right into one of Facade's bioelectric bursts. But he's all of a sudden now the cops hear all the noise. They show up. Facade realizes he can't accomplish his mission, that Spider-Man distracted him too long. He couldn't find Betty. I
see where you are. Okay, it took me a minute to figure out where you were.
Because he's afraid that Facade is going after Betty. Betty is down deep in the archive studying when all of a sudden a hand touches her, and it turns out to be the quiet butler, Victor. And Victor says that, well, Mr. Bryce wants to make your acquaintance again.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why couldn't he have come himself? Well, he's busy. Okay. So Spider-Man said, couldn't find Betty anywhere in the building, so I'll check her apartment next. But I still don't understand how Facade fled the area so quickly unless he's hidden right under our noses somewhere.
There you go.
Bum.
Hornacek says the butler did it.
Well,
we got how many new characters are being introduced each issue?
Well, and and
how many?
And of course, a couple of old ones to throw into the suspect as well.
All right, 115 now of Web special bash and trash issue as Spider-Man faces off against Facade. There you go.
Yeah, emphasis on the trash, boys and girls. Anyway, so our quiet butler, Victor, is driving Betty Brant to meet Arthur Bryce at his apartment because he couldn't be there in person for some reason to pick her up. So anyway, so we find out too that, oh, Lord have mercy. Oh. Is this Cole Cooper? I don't know. Well,
who are you talking about?
Oh, I'm on page 3 here. I'm on page 3 here.
3, okay. Oh, that guy. The guy laying down?
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Facade, let's see. He's singing. Let's see here. It's not over yet. Oh, okay. This is John Jameson. All right. I know Dad's innocent, but tempers run way too high in the Jameson clan. Yeah. And Chase never did buy into our or my instant alibi because basically Jonah lied about, that he and John were together when they really weren't together when they said they were. So wait a minute. Why is somebody lying? Ooh, this could be. Well, boys and girls, next page, we walk into the middle of another subplot, which happened actually in a different issue. Of the Spider-Man quartet, where Aunt May is felled by a stroke. Yeah. And boys and girls, you can see, for those of you who are familiar with how the Clone Saga rolled, you can see all the pieces starting to fall together.
Yeah.
All right. So
this is what back when you had to buy all 4 of them to know what was going on.
Yep. And you still really never did understand everything because the people involved didn't understand everything. Well, Jonah tries to meet with Amy and console her, but it doesn't work, and Jonah is just feeling horrendously guilty about it. Spider-Man promises Amy that Lance Bannon will be avenged, and Betty goes and meets Mr. Bryce, who decides to try to charm her and woo her and everything of that nature. So,
Hmm.
of course, and he's so nice. Of course, he couldn't possibly be a murderer, could he?
Looks like the balcony from the Superman movie with
Yep, with Margot Kidder and
with
Christopher
Margot
Reeve.
Kidder.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, and like I said, this guy looks like. I mean, it almost looks like they came from the same template. The Foreigner, Arthur Bryce, and
And Fireheart.
Fireheart.
Yep. Puma.
It's like they all kind of came from the same template. They're
Is he
all.
wearing? Well, is he wearing an ascot?
I don't think so. That would be
Is that
Roderick Kingsley. I don't think he's
bad
is he
guys
wearing-
wear ascots except for
Yeah.
Freddy.
Well,
Scooby Doo.
of course, George thinks that if a guy wears a ascot, that'd be
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. We won't get into it. But anyway, so Arthur Archer Bryce is trying to seduce Betty Brant,
Yep.
and
It's
well,
a trap.
obviously we know, we just so Aunt May has just had a stroke and had to go to the hospital. Mary Jane's at Aunt May's house when the
Uh-oh.
phone rings.
Uh-oh.
All right, the phone rings.
Ring.
And she has to tell someone's saying, okay, I apologize for the long distance connection. I'm an old friend of the
From the late 70s.
I'm trying to reach May Parker. Oh, I'm waiting for a call from my husband. You'll have to contact the hospital, and of course, then the caller.
Hold
Look
on.
what the caller does. Look what the caller does.
Look at that ring.
Look at that ring. And look what he does. He's got super strength.
And from the back, who does he look like? Who does he look like?
Yep. Not May.
He looks like Chasm.
Yeah, he looks. Well, or Chasm. Is Chasm like Ben 38, 28, 27?
And
all right.
6'1".
So anyway, so this guy is really upset about May's predicament, and he's about to get on his motorcycle. So who is this man? Who is this man?
Look at that.
Where is he heading for? Check out for the next tantalizing clue, check out Spider-Man number 49 on sale in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But inquiring minds already knew who this character was. There just was something. They wouldn't go there, would they?
They did. They did.
All
they
right.
did. Yep. Anyway, it's time to transform. It's time to transform. You ready?
So anyway, one of our major suspects gets into the Facade costume
and screams out of there
while Betty is doing more research.
Oh, Betty.
All right.
Oh, look at her in 94 using that computer. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, she's thinking back to Ned. Now, see, first I fall in love with Ned Leeds. We really did love each other until I lost him to the Hobgoblin, and then, so by now Betty knows that Ned was the Hobgoblin. But I have no real reason to believe that Arthur Bryce is Facade. I just don't want to believe it, or of any of Chase's suspects, So, but Betty hears some. Oh, let's see what we got here. Bingo. Archer's records were almost too good to be true. And Bryce Co. Bryce Co. All right. has a long and impressive history, expanding and acquiring more and more until now. Seems Arthur's been liquidating personal holdings piece by piece around the world to avoid focusing public attention on what? In an effort to maintain corporate assets. So Bryce's future is not quite as solid as his past, eh? Well, of course, then Facade breaks in.
Boom! He scratches in.
Boom!
Scratch.
But Spider-Man comes to Betty's rescue. And they start,
it's on.
The fight is on.
Gives him a nice boom right in the gut, in the back. Right in the butt, actually.
So we get all kinds of monopias or whatever. And we have page after page of fight. But now Spidey is down and Facade looks like he's going in for the kill. Is this the end of Spider-Man?
Hold on. You blew through that. There you go. Not enough for my liking, freak. He's paralyzed. There you go. Tune in next
Spider-Man,
month.
boys and girls. All right.
Let's see. Taking out the scratch. That's nice. I love it. It's funny. Facade comes through the door like the Kool-Aid man as well. Maybe Facade is the Kool-Aid man. There you go. There's a clue. Hornacek says, how come MJ didn't recognize that voice? Caller must have used an accent on these phone calls.
Well, I
Um,
mean, the call, yeah, he probably is disguising his voice because,
yeah, of
yeah,
course.
he's been talking to Aunt May. So,
Yeah, over the
he's not
years.
just going to talk in his normal Peter voice. Aunt May will say, Peter,
Yeah,
this sounds an awful lot like you. Oh, sorry about that. It's not me.
it's a
Uh,
bad connection.
yeah, because after all, we're talking on old phones before the cell
Yeah,
phones and stuff like that.
there you
So,
go. All
probably
right,
on the party line.
the
Um,
last issue of the mystery is here.
Facade.
Of No Mercy for Facade. And real quick to quiz you, what does Facade stand for?
Ugh, ugh, oh my lord. Phew. I mean, how could we not? How could we not remember that? Because it's such an organic name as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
let's see, what was it? What was it? It was
I don't
the
know.
Full Acclamation Combat and Defense Skeleton.
Explos. I love the
The
Explo.
Skeleton.
Oh god. Oh
Well,
man, Spidey's screwed. Look at this.
yeah,
Oh, he's getting it wrong.
he's
No.
down, and the pain of Facade's bioelectric bolts will soon pass. As because Facade is just going to stab him through the heart. But who comes to
Oh no.
Spider-Man's rescue? But
90s Betty Brant with
Commando,
guns.
Commando Betty.
No,
So
wait a minute. She has clothes on. She is. You must be referencing Schwarzenegger. She did
yes,
not go commando. She
No,
went
she's not.
Schwarzenegger.
She's not going full commando. She's going that in that way. She's military commando.
Look, she's got a bandana on her
So
head.
yeah, so
She's been
she
through the
had,
cult of love.
so
She's
she
ready
had
to go.
time. She had so anyway. So this supervillain has just tried to kill her and
Yeah.
is trying to kill Spider-Man. And so Betty thinks she has to do something, but first she has to change into this slinky black outfit that conveniently shows her cleavage and put on a headband and bring out her Uzi.
Yeah. Where the heck
whatever
did
it
Betty
is.
get her Uzi?
Yeah.
Hornacek Betty, if it bleeds, we can kill it. To the chopper, Spider-Man. She's Linda Hamilton in T2. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, wow.
She went
I mean, and it's like
from making love to making war real quick.
yeah.
And
I
God
mean,
bless.
the thing is it's one of those things. I mean, she's going into battle,
Why not?
but she has to conveniently, show her cleavage. I just like,
That's
well,
the 90s, man.
okay, all right.
90s.
All
No,
right.
but Betty's not playing. She
No,
believes in
no,
payback.
No,
Look
no.
at him.
Betty has brought
This
her
is-
gun, and Betty's got a gun.
You know what the adjective for her ongoing title would be? Badass Betty. That's what that would be called. I
Well,
love
there
it.
was a song called Black Betty or whatever that people
Oh,
used to
Black
sing.
Betty.
Betty, bam, a lamb. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Black Betty had a child from a clone. Yeah, yeah.
So- So
Enough.
anyway, so there's a fight. I mean, Spider-Man regains his senses, and puts a tracer on Facade as Facade makes his getaway.
Yep.
And then we go to the funeral of Lance Banner.
Oh, R.I.P. Lance.
All right.
R.I.P. Man.
Yeah. So anyway, we have all the suspects conveniently showing up. I mean, as
Who we got?
as Amy is crying, there's Cleus Cassidy's second cousin, Cole Cooper,
Right
who
there.
decides he's going to say a few nice words about Lance. And then Betty notices that, holy cow, look, Arthur/Archer Bryce is here at the funeral too.
With his man ponytail going on,
with
right?
with his man ponytail and his man servant, Victor. So yeah, their being there isn't suspicious at all.
Look at all them.
After all, what would bring the ever industrious Archer Bryce? So now he's back to being Archer. He was
Okay.
Archer, then he was Arthur, and now he's Archer again.
Oh, he's back to Archer, huh?
Yeah, he's back to Archer. All right. Why would he be at a complete stranger's funeral? I'm only here for you, Betty. Only for you. And where Victor goes, I go. And Victor goes where I go. Okay, that's not strange at all, is it? You know,
That's weird.
Victor goes where I go. You know, why does Victor always go where you go? Well, sometimes I fail to stock the bathroom with toilet paper, and Victor's there, and Victor go upstairs and get some more toilet paper. So,
All right.
Anyway,
So we
so
got multiple suspects at
yeah,
the funeral.
John Jameson is there. J. Jonah Jameson is there as well.
Here's a good panel of the suspects. Those
Yep,
four dudes
yep.
right there.
Yep. Yeah, and there's nothing. I mean, see, here's the thing. Here is one reason why the Facade story is so infamous in a way, is just
Yeah.
because this story is trying so
It is.
hard to, you know, be a mystery story, and who is the, um,
Yeah.
so all the suspects are there. Anyway, so Detective Chase and Betty are going over some notes, and Jonah's there too, and Jonah says, "I have a confession to make."
Mm-hmm.
Jonah, don't say anything until you talk to your lawyer. Well, I can't afford to hold it in any longer. I supported John's lie about where we were the time of Lance's murder to protect my only son. Well, the truth is, I stormed out of the office alone and went straight home. So he and John weren't together, so he lied about where he was, and John lied there. So obviously there's something suspicious. Anyway, but Facade burst in. All right.
Everybody down.
Okay,
Here
so
comes
now
Facade.
we know that Jonah can't be Facade, and we know that
John.
Officer Chase, who also got a very prominent intro, cannot be Facade.
Wait a minute. Is this the guy? Is that John Jameson, or who is that guy talking to?
That's
Jonah?
Officer Chase.
Okay, so it's not Chase.
No,
unless he's doing an Iron Man and controlling it with his brain.
Well, I guess we'll never know, will we? Never know, will we? That was always possible. All right. So basically, then, boys and girls, we get another long fight, and Spider-Man, through his web, which he has unfortunately learned can conduct electricity, winds up sticking it to Facade, so that when Facade zaps Spidey, then the webbing conducts it all the way back to Facade and zaps him. And then Spider-Man rips the chest plate off.
We're going to find out.
Oh, but no. After the big scrank, is it a scrack or a scrank? It's scrack.
That's a scrank.
No, it's a scrack.
That's a scrack. Sorry. That's a scrack.
Right. But see, the feedback just fried Spider-Man. And he loses consciousness, and he doesn't see who Facade is.
Oh.
Now, anyway, so Joan is there, and Chase says, well, I can eliminate you from the suspect pool. Yep. All right. And then as Spidey leaves, Betty's thinking, it's up to me to find out the truth about Arthur Bryce.
30 years later, Betty, come on.
All righty. and then here we are.
Uh-oh.
It's not quite okay. Yeah, it's the last page of the Facade mystery. Okay, but not the last page of the story. So Facade visits Lance Bannon's grave.
Yeah.
I came back here to share the final irony. Haney's death was an accident, because Mr. Drucker didn't mean to kill him. Mr. Drucker was the owner of the grocery store.
Okay. Oh, you've tested. Once you start naming some B characters in Green Acres, I'm out. I can only do the main.
Well, he was talking about Haney's death. So,
I know.
I mean, and I've already mentioned Ebb and Mr. Douglas and Arnold. Yep. So then I went for Mr. Drucker. All right.
I'm good.
All right. Okay. So
who was the wife? Who Zsa Zsa Gabor's character? Who was that?
Yeah. Oh Lord, it was Ava. No, it wasn't Zsa Zsa. Ava. It was Ava Gabor.
Ava Gabor.
But I can't remember what her Mrs. Douglas.
That was not my wife.
Yeah,
okay,
Lovey.
Go ahead.
No, that was Mrs. Howe. Anyway, so I came back to share the final irony with you. Haney's death was an accident, but with your cold-blooded murder, I also buried the man inside me.
Real quick, Brent says that guy's got gray hair, so no curly hair, so not Cole or Victor. So
well, maybe not necessarily. Maybe the artist didn't get the message. I don't know. Maybe that's true, though. I don't know. Maybe the artist, maybe Alex drew who he thought it was himself. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who knows?
I guess he's here, right? So, who ordered you to draw the hair that way?
Terry Kavanaugh.
But see,
Anyway,
it could be Cole wearing a wig though. You
I
know,
guess.
it could be anybody. So uh, anyway, so I also buried the man inside me. I tasted power, true power, while I wielded that bio armor, and now I am truly a
A
hollow
hollow facade.
facade. Bum,
Don't,
bum.
don't, don't.
All right, boys and girls, with that mystery out of the way, let's get to the rest of this story, which
Yeah.
is going to set off too many years of agony. May is laying in her hospital bed,
Yeah. Just waiting for ASM
in a,
400.
waiting for ASM 400. The mysterious stranger shows up on his motorbike,
Oh,
goes to the hospital. Thank you, except the cop stops him and says, only immediate family can go in here. That's me, sir. I'm looking for a woman named, and then whoever it is turns around and sees Peter. I
Yep.
can't let him see me now.
Yep.
So he runs from Peter. And as Peter Parker goes to see Aunt May, the mysterious stranger is called again to find out about Aunt May's condition.
Yep.
All right. Next, power and responsibility. The
Yep.
month-long Spider Books crossover beginning here. Not to mention the debut of new fantastic art, blah, blah, blah. And see the letters page for the next appearance of the Mystery Man. Oh, wait a minute. Changing of the guard.
Yep.
This issue marks the last by longtime web penciler Alex Savick.
It's Alex's last issue.
Who has plied his considerable talent in these pages for over 7 years as he moves on to both pencil and ink Spider-Man adventures, the ongoing monthly series adapting episodes of this fall's animated Spidey series. A fine artist, a true professional, and a heck of a nice guy, Alex completes a distinguished stint in style this month, and we're looking forward to even greater things from him ahead.
Yep.
So there you go.
Webb,
boys and girls.
Here, I've said this before. Webb gets a bad rap. But Alex Savick is a very solid part of Webb, and he takes plots that aren't as the best sometimes, and really makes them look. You can't say the art's bad in Webb when Savick's doing it, in my opinion.
But you can say the stories are.
Yeah, you can.
Anyway, so the Facade story.
Yes, sir. Who is it, JR? Who is it? Tell me.
They spend so much time trying to making you think it's Arthur Bryce. You almost think it can't be. Yeah. But here's the thing. First of all, with the Clone Saga, with the Clone Saga coming up, and Terry Kavanagh knowing that the Clone Saga is coming up, and the Clone Saga is going to derail everything for the next 2 years, why do you spend so much time setting up this mystery, trying so hard to set up all the suspects and all the mystery, not reveal who the identity of the killer is, and never revisit it again, but knowing you're going into a storyline in which you're not going to be able to revisit it?
They must have been taken off the book suddenly or something. I don't know. It's just one of those ridiculous things that why was this story here? Why was it told the way it was told? Yeah.
And again, Lance Bannon, who was a decent supporting character for many years, was killed off. And again, which is the easiest thing to do for lazy writers, is to try to bring shock by killing off a character that they didn't create in the first place. So
years later, this was mentioned in chat. Dan Slott tried to bring it back. Here's a panel. Spidey gets done. I forget where this was from, but
it was the one where Spidey had to fix something he had 24 hours to fix something or the city blow up. So Slott tried to slyly acknowledge, this ridiculous controversy.
Yeah, there's Facade right there.
Yeah, the secret of Facade. I am really, so that was modestly amusing.
I would agree. That's a long time joke for Spider fans that Slott threw in there, which I appreciated. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I mean,
so the fans are asking you, JR. Brent says, so are Brad and JR going to give us the guess on who Facade is? My guess. Here's my guess. The photographer with the curly hair. That's my guess. What was his name?
Cole Cooper.
Cole Cooper. He's got the two C's, like
That's
like
true. That's true.
Peter Parker.
Your villains, always have to have heroes and villains always have to have some kind of alliterative
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
My money would have been on Victor.
Okay.
The butler. Actually, though, I thought I still think that I like your idea of Detective Chase controlling it with his mind or whatever, and that he really wasn't, because he had such a momentous, he had such a distinguished introduction as well. But honestly, I have no clue because it reminds me of a lot of Slots mysteries or whatever. It didn't matter what the setup was. The punchline was always going to be what he thought it, the storytelling's not particularly honest. I certainly hope it wouldn't have been John James, and that would have been another.
He's Man Wolf, man. You don't need to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't need to be turning him into a murderer either. He's another, decent supporting character.
Exactly.
It was ultimately, and see, here's the thing. One reason is it was ultimately a pointless story. Ultimately a pointless story. You're going to set up a mystery and never resolve it. That you're just cheating the audience, and trying to appear more clever than you are, I guess. But
let's go to the Marvel Wiki. We've got some time. So this is what I think they're talking about. This right here.
Yep.
Norman Osborn has a connection, according to this. During Dark Reign, during the time as director of Hammer, Norman Osborn received an intelligence briefing that seemed to contain the true identity of Facade. However, the text revealing his name had been torn off. I plan to offer you an update on the fugitive criminal known as Facade. After an exhaustive investigation, I have finally determined the true identity of Facade is blank. So oh my gosh, JR, there's Norman Osborn's email.
Yep. Oh, wow. I can send him. Oh, wow. Hammer.gov.us.
Yeah, there you go. There's Norman Osborn's email.
Well, I tell you what, whoever wrote this knows that is truly what a government email address is, .gov or .us. Yep.
The mystery of Facsade's real identity was apparently intended to be a long-running subplot in the Spider-Man title, similar to the original Hobgoblin mystery, but it failed to capture the interest of the readers. The Facade storyline fell by the wayside as the Clone Saga rose to prominence. Facade was identified as being male. The suspects of Facade were J. Jonah Jameson, John Jameson, Mike Wilson, the curator. What's that?
He was the guy who was putting the moves on Betty at the beginning.
Got it.
And he was he was the curator of the museum who, was wanting to show Betty how it was powered.
Archer Bryce, Victor, Archer's butler, or Cole Cooper. I'm going with Cole Cooper. It was later proven that Facade couldn't have been J. Jonah Jameson. The chief suspect was Arthur Bryce, but it could just as easily been one of the other four suspects.
Yeah, Arthur's flash. It was almost just too obvious that that it was him. I mean, that's how I look at it. But again, it's like it fell by the wayside as the Clone Saga rose to. I mean, the Clone Saga. What made him think he was going to revisit it with the Clone Saga coming? But then again, I will say this now. I guess I shouldn't blame Kavanaugh because they all thought the Clone Saga was going to be wrapped up in 6 months.
That's true.
And probably they all thought it was going to be wrapped up, and then they'd all go back to their old plots with just a new Spider-Man, Ben Reilly.
This was Spider Island where that Facade image came from.
That's probably being a little hard on Mr. Kavanaugh because they probably all thought within the next year they'd go back to their stories just with a new Spider-Man and didn't realize that it was going to turn into a 2.5-year debacle because the marketing department said, make it longer.
Yeah. Hornacek says it was Mike Wilson, the curator.
Your guess is just as good as ours.
Gary in the Frozen said Facade was Ben Reilly.
I don't know. He couldn't have been facading and driving to see Aunt May in the hospital at the same time.
He's joking. Mr. Comic says it was Aunt May because she wasn't in the hospital.
That's true. Actually, since she had a stroke, maybe she was out of body, having out of body experiences and took over.
Iris says, too bad Lance Bannon wasn't around for Hobgoblin Lives. Wonder how Stern would have explained his odd behavior back during the Hobgoblin saga.
I don't know. Stern. I mean, Stern explained everything away, so I'm sure he would have.
So, JR, was this a good story?
No, No, it wasn't. I mean, it was an insult.
Yeah.
First of all, it started out by putting the Black Cat and Gambit in there for no good reason at all, because none of them made an appearance in the rest of the story. You never quite figured out why either one of them really were there story wise. I mean, I don't recall Felicia saying she was looking to steal something, and Gambit just said, I wanted to make sure it wasn't anybody who's doing all these robberies from New Orleans. And it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense at all. So you had that, which completely wasted everyone's time. And then it just tried way too hard to be a mystery, and it didn't give you the solution. And like I said, it killed off a decent supporting character for no good reason at all. It winds up being a waste of time for everyone.
Brent wants Terry Cavanaugh and Alex Savick on to tell us the answer of who was Facade.
To be honest, I doubt that Terry Cavanaugh. I don't know. I mean, a lot of times, and I don't know. You probably, if you call him up again, like you like to call people up. I think Alex was kidding.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Black Cat
was there because she looked damn sexy. I agree.
Yeah. I guess that's
why not?
That's it. But that's one reason why it's so infamous. It is
infamous.
It's
the
infamous.
Fans have demanded.
But there it is, boys and girls.
The Facade. That's our thoughts. We're going to be back in just a couple minutes for more Spider history. This time, Identity Crisis.
Identity Crisis.